Hi. So one of the areas where we've seen Hapax really flourish with a lot of our different customers, obviously, is around the state and federal regulatory environment. Because Hapax is trained on all of those state and federal regulations and is an expert in regulation, it understands how different regulations at the state or the federal level are associated to different documents or different policies and procedures that you may have in your vault. So just a good example that I like to use to kind of call out how Hapax is that expert in regulation is, let's use the prompt of, what specific state and federal regulations are typically associated to a BSA policy. And let's use the scenario that my FI is based here in Texas, which is where Hapax is based in Austin, Texas. So you give it that prompt, it's going through that thought process, it's generating the query. The brain behind Hapax and what it is, because it understands the world of banking and all the nuances of banking. It's going and it's basically kind of drawing that map of, okay, which regulations do I need to look at? Which different policies in your vault do I need to scan and look at? Like, what is relevant for this particular prompt? And then it's going to cite all that work in the current context section. So as it's actually generating, we'll let it generate. Then I'll scroll back up to the top here. Give it 1 second. There we go. All right. So as a bank based in Texas, your BSA or Bank Secrecy Act policy is typically associated with the following state and federal regulations. So it'll cite those federal regulations, right? And those like specific little snippets from those regulations. It'll provide a little bit of context here as well. But then here on the right side, there we go. Those regulations are going to be cited where you can actually click into them and you can dive and maybe do a deeper dive into the actual snippet and the actual section of the entire regulation that it is citing in that context. So same thing goes for information that lives, within your information vault. Obviously, there's a ton of regulations for this example. But this is where you could also see like what other information in our info vault is Hapax citing in its answer, so we can always show that work. Once again, Hapax is not a black box. It's always going to show you why the output is what it is. Thank you.